After hearing a very encouraging and powerful messages from Horie-san, I would like to host the next session, and the theme is New Woman Power. I'm going to invite two very popular, energetic, and very, very influential female entrepreneur from Silicon Valley. So let's welcome Jess Lee, co-founder and CEO of Polyvore. Jess, please come in. And next is Michelle Phan, co-founder of ipsy. So Michelle, please come in. Okay, this session is again about the power of the women. I think I'm kind of getting overwhelmed. But first of all, I think since you guys are running a very, very innovative new business models, and we would like to hear what ipsy and Polyvore are doing, and I think it's going to be a great learning for Japanese audience. So I would like to begin with Michelle, if you don't mind.
Konnichiwa. I wanted to give you all a brief overview on the different paths that I took in my career. So the first slide here is obviously my name. And the reason why I chose the universe as a backdrop is because ever since I was a little girl, I always believed that there's infinite possibilities and ideas out there in the universe. And sometimes we're always trying to find inspiration, but the best inspiration is when you just open up your eyes and you listen more and you see more and you take it all in. And so for any of you here who's trying to find that inspiration, it's out there. You just have to look up, and hopefully it inspires something from within that can give you that spark. So let's begin. Back in 2007, I started my YouTube channel, and this was 2 years after Google bought YouTube. And YouTube was at its early stage, very, very early. A lot of people didn't even know what YouTube was, but I was in college, and when I first stumbled upon YouTube, it just made sense to me. This was the future. I understood that this is a global television set, and I can have my own channel on here, just like all the other channels you see on TV. So an idea popped in my head, and at the time I was in college and I was a full-time student. I was working part-time as a waitress. I wanted to do something on the side for fun, and that fun happened to be creating beauty tutorials, teaching women how they can empower themselves through beauty, through health, through skincare, and much, much more. And so I've been on this path creating these videos for the past 7 to 8 years. And so I have over 7.5 million subscribers and over 1 billion views. And all of this came from a simple idea of wanting to teach and share what I love most. So my videos, they span from transformations, as you can see on the upper left-hand corner. It's a Halloween look. And on the right, I show how people can relax and de-stress. And so it's not always about beauty, it's about lifestyle too. On the bottom left, you see I show people my favorite technology, my favorite apps. And on the right, I do a lot of motivational videos to help inspire my viewers. And so it's not just about beauty. I mean, I always believe as a storyteller and as a creator or an entrepreneur, it's always good to be multifaceted and to try different things. So I'll go with one of the first companies I launched back in 2011. It's called ipsy. Ipsy is derived from a Latin word, and it means selfhood. The Latin word meaning ipsa. Ipsa means selfhood, myself, who I am. And the reason why I wanted to choose this word was because I always believe that beauty is something that lives within all of us. We're all born to be beautiful, but there's different interpretations of beauty. And how people perceive beauty is really up to them. And so I wanted to showcase a new world of beauty and how there's no such thing as a one-size-fit-for-all beauty look. I've never been a believer in that. I always believe that beauty is something that's individual, and you bring it out of other people. Thus, the idea of ipsy was born. And so ipsy was actually inspired, the business model actually was inspired by my trip in Thailand back in 2008. And remember, I didn't start this business until 2011. So the idea was conceived in 2008 when I was in Thailand. I was shopping with my friends, and I stumbled upon this kiosk. And there were all these girls going crazy, 30 girls surrounding this tiny little kiosk going crazy, throwing Thai baht in the air. I mean, they were grabbing all these little items, and I went over to take a look and see what they were buying, going crazy over. And there were these little beauty samples, small samples like Lancome, La Mer, very expensive beauty brands, but small samples. And I asked my friend who was Thai, I said, why are they buying samples? And she said, well, in Thailand, if you buy any beauty product, if you go into a store and let's say on the same day you come back to return it, you can't return it. It's final sale. In America, it's not like that. You can actually use half of the products and return it back and you get a full refund. So I couldn't believe it. I said, wow, that's amazing. People actually want to buy samples. And that business idea kind of popped in my head, but it was too early for its time. And so, like I said, every idea can come from anywhere. And so I saw that, and I tucked it in the back of my head, saving it for a potential business idea in the future. And so ipsy was born. And so you see right there, I'm holding this thing called a glam bag. It's $10 a month you pay, including shipping, and you get to 4 to 5 beauty products, full-size samples or full-size products that you see right there. And they're all curated by my team and myself. And so on the left, this is the envelope that you get every month. It's the pink metallic bag, and a lot of people who receive their bags, they see this in their mailbox, and they get super excited because they feel like it's Christmas, it's their birthday. Every month, they're excited to find this metallic bag. And on the right, you can see all the bags that we have so far. And on the bottom, all these girls, they create videos and content, showcasing the bags, opening the bag, showcasing what products they get. And every bag is different for each girl because before she signs up for a bag, she has to take a beauty profile quiz where we learn everything about her. We understand if she's more into lipstick or hair products or skincare. And so when she gets her bag, we personalize it just for her. And this month, actually, we will be shipping out over 1 million bags. So this is very exciting for us. And you can see here are some examples of the different bags. Each month, it's curated with a different theme. And so on the upper left-hand corner, it's a spring theme. It's actually our most recent bag. And on the bottom, these are other bags from previous collections. And my favorite part about these ipsy bags, I love to see how people, they take the bags and they reuse it. Sometimes they put pencils in there or accessories, and they take pictures of it and they share it. And so it's a very fun, engaged community where they love sharing what they do with these bags too. Another business I launched 2 years after ipsy is M Cosmetics. It's a makeup line that I partnered with L'Oreal, and we launched this in 2013. It's a luxury beauty brand. We launched with over 250 SKUs, which is a lot. So we cover everything from face, lipstick, blush. It's not a small capsule collection. We launched a very substantial beauty line, and it's e-commerce only. And here's a fun fact about L'Oreal. L'Oreal, they normally don't make or create beauty brands. They acquire it, they buy it. And so this was actually the first time they built a brand from the ground up. The last time they did that was L'Oreal. So this was a very historic event that happened, and very excited and honored to be a part of that. So this is the website, mcosmetics.com, where e-commerce focused at the moment. And you can see right here, we put a lot of attention and detail into the website, making the user experience intuitive and easy. And last week, I launched Icon, a premium lifestyle network, a multi-platform network. I partnered with Endemol Shine Group, who is currently now the largest independent production company in the world. And so they have a production company in China, in Japan, in South Korea, in Russia, in South America, everywhere around the world except, I think, Antarctica. And we launched it because I I wanted to build an infrastructure for future creators like myself, future talent, so that they can also have a career like myself. And they can create shows, whether it's on YouTube, they want to build their YouTube channel, if they want to go on TV, if they want to have their own product line, their own fashion line, their own beauty line, giving them the tools and resources so that they can really be in control of their destiny. And so we just launched last week, and it's very exciting. We launched in the States and also in the UK, and we're looking to launch in Asia end of the year. And that is it. So I wanted to end it with a picture of a cat, Nico. And also, I always end my video with good luck. And the reason why, it's because I believe we are all in control of our luck. Luck is opportunity meets preparation, and so that's why I tell a lot of my followers who want to do what I do to always be prepared. You never know when an opportunity might come your way. So this is my story. Thank you.
Oh my God. What a fascinating story. I have many questions, but before talking about your, the journey and success and everything, let's hear the story from Jess as well. Can you get the clicker?
Hi, everyone. I'm Jess, CEO and co-founder of Polyvore. So I was born in Canada. I'm half Chinese, half Japanese. I grew up in Hong Kong, where my mom was an entrepreneur. So she's Japanese. She's from Nagoya. Osaka Gaidai is where she studied. When I was growing up, I wanted to draw comic books for a living. I wanted to be a mangaka. However, my parents told me that was not a good major to pursue, go to art school. So I ended up going to Stanford, where I studied computer science. At the age of 18, I moved to California, attended Stanford, studied computer science. And after that, I went to Google, where I was the product manager for Google Maps. I learned a lot there. Then one day, someone showed me this amazing website called Polyvore.com. And I started to use it, and I became a huge fan. I started using it maybe 2 or 3 hours a night. And I eventually wrote a note to the co-founders of the company to complain about some of the features and to compliment them and to give them some ideas. And that email turned into a coffee. We met up in person, and then eventually I joined Polyvore as the first employee, became the head of product, and eventually CEO. But I started as someone in the Polyvore community who just really loved the product. So what is Polyvore? Polyvore is a shopping site and app where you can give and get styling ideas. So it's where you can shop all the different products from all the different stores in one easy, convenient place. Everything from Gucci to Forever 21 to Etsy, all in one place. And we have an amazing community from all over the world of people who love style. And what they do is they mix and match all the products together to create outfits, mood boards, collages. Here's an example of what the app looks like. So you can see on the left, that's the Polyvore app. You can drag and drop all the real products from real stores and create a collage that you share with all your friends. And millions of people come to Polyvore each month to browse and shop the outfits as well as create their own. Some examples of the type of content people create. So street style is super popular. You can see someone recreated a street style look. We're also in the beauty space. So that one was actually a set created about Michelle, who I'm a huge fan of. I've been following Michelle for years on YouTube, so it's been really amazing to watch her success. A lot of home decor. That's actually one of our community members designed Polyvore's office. So we ran a contest, we outsourced it, and the community member, we flew her in from Germany to our office in Mountain View, and she decorated our office for us. There's a lot of celebrity style. There's one inspired by pop culture, that's Totoro. So fashion can be inspired by all different kinds of topics. And then the last one is travel, an example of what to pack when you're going on a trip. Our mission is to empower people to feel really good about their style. I think today the fashion industry has a very narrow and unattainable view of what beauty is supposed to look like. And not everyone fits that. So we thought, why not empower an amazing community of people all over the world, the new influencers, to express their sense of style. And then girls who are growing up can connect with a different niche, can find their own niche and feel really good about their own style. Instead of there being one Anna Wintour at Vogue who decides what the latest trend is, with Polyvore, we want to empower an army of Anna Wintours around the world. People like Michelle who can say, this is what is the cool trend, this is how I feel, and they can express themselves. And overall, we think that will make women when you feel more confident in your style, you just feel more confident in general, and that will make you succeed more in your everyday life. A little bit about our audience. We have about 20 million monthly unique visitors to Polyvore. They're mostly female. Between the ages of 18 to 34 is our most popular age range. We're the second largest driver of social commerce traffic to brands and retailers in the US. So you can see Facebook is the biggest driver because they're enormous. They have a lot of users. We're second, followed by Pinterest, followed by Twitter. This is in terms of driving traffic and sales to retailers and brands. So we really are about shopping. Our average basket size is about $383, which is larger than all the other networks put together. So from a business perspective, we're doing very well. Lastly, we're based in Mountain View in San Francisco. We're very much heavy on product and engineering. About 58% of the company is product and engineering. And last year, we were very fortunate to win one of the great places to work in tech by Great Place to Work, which is based on extensive employee surveys. And you can see on the right, those are some pictures of our team. We have a lot of fun at work. The bottom picture is from Halloween, where some of the team decided to dress up as sushi. Yeah.
Great, thank you very much. So instead of one-sidedly me asking you guys a question, I think I would like to keep the format as conversational as possible. But let's begin with the change of the media. Michelle, you have 7.6 million fans and followers on YouTube and 1 billion viewers on YouTube. Your rival is Lady Gaga or somebody else?
Barbie is the
Barbie
most viewed video on my channel so far.
I see. But anyhow, what is the secret? You know, every single, the girls want to be like you, but it seems not so easy. So what is the secret, if you can share?
There is no secret. No, a lot of people ask me that. What is the secret? How do you do this? How do you get started? And the first thing I tell the person is that there is no secret. There is no secret because media is always changing. If you are given a formula, especially online, it becomes obsolete within 6 months because there's new viewerships are coming in, new platforms are emerging, and so you have to evolve and pivot really fast. And so I always tell people, don't worry about finding that secret formula. Instead, focus on your passion. If you really love and you believe in what you want to do, it won't feel like work. And as an entrepreneur, oftentimes you have to do so many things. You have to wear so many hats. You have to be your own PR, your own CEO, COO, your own publicist. And so if you're not loving what you're doing, and oftentimes you're doing so many things, you're going to burn out really fast. And so if there is a secret, it's very simple. It is a little cheesy, but it's true. You have to love what you do. And so that's what I tell people first. Love what you do. The second thing is you have to be a good storyteller. Stories are the very thing that connects everyone together if you think about it. It's the stories that bring people together. And so if you're a brand, instead of selling a product, tell a story, share a story, because it connects with people. And so if you come from a point of view where you want to connect with someone, that builds a relationship, and that, I guess, in a sense, is the secret sauce, is building a relationship with your followers and customers.
Right. Just you're not a big YouTuber yet, but you promote the stylist, basically personal stylist.
Yes.
And it has been, the Polyvore has grown to 20 million unique visitors per month, and it is more influential than Pinterest. So, how can you do it? What makes Polyvore so different from other? There are lots of social commerce or social media sites which focuses on fashion these days. What makes you so different?
I think one of the big reasons we've been successful is because of our emphasis on community. So just like Michelle is like a real person, I think one of the reasons Michelle is successful is because she's so authentic. I think consumers these days, they don't want to just hear from an elite editor in New York who's saying, I went to the fashion shows in Paris and Milan, this is what you should wear. They want to hear from real people, real women, real girls. And Polyvore's emphasis has always been on our user community. So in many ways, I think of Polyvore as like a blank canvas. We're behind the scenes. It's not what I think is hot in fashion. My job is to give people a voice, give real girls a voice to say, this is what's trendy, and then the community gets to decide. So it really is about the community at the end of the day. I think that's the reason we've been successful.
So 10 years from now, what does media is going to look like? It's going to be just more, it's going to be social. What's going to happen to the fashion magazines, and what's going to happen to fashion, TV programs? And do you have any opinion or your vision or views?
Absolutely. I see it happening right now. I mean, a lot of magazines in New York are folding or they're merging because it's so hard to keep up to date with the internet. If a trend comes out right now, a lot of magazines, they work 6 months in advance. So how can you really maintain that freshness and newness? So I really believe there is going to be a sense of evolution that's going to happen within the media world. However, what we're going to see more of is emerging talents, user-generated content, normal people like us, authentic people who are putting out content in a more realistic way, in a more approachable way, where it's not coming from an authoritative point of view, but from a point of view where you're sharing something. So we're going to see a lot of user-generated content everywhere around the world, and people will have access to seeing street styles in Japan, like at a click of a button, or street style in South America if they want to. So I think it's going to change, and it's happening right now.
Jess?
Yeah, I agree. I think I think Twitter is a great example of how media is evolving. All the big media companies are on Twitter. That's one of their ways to reach their audiences. But a lot of news is being broken by people on the street who are with their cameras. Like, everyone now is becoming a source of news, right? Every human can take a picture of what's happening. The Arab Spring happened that way. So I think that's just going to continue and snowball. And I think maybe there'll be two sort of opposite ends of the spectrum. So there'll be reporters doing hardcore investigative journalism, and then there's going to be people on the street videoing and taking small snippets, being sort of citizen journalists.
We are one of the early investors to the Pinterest, but it seems like more than men, females are more sensitive and receptive to the social, the media thing. Is there any difference between men and women in that sense? We don't have Michelle Fo among the men community, right?
Well, that's what I want to find. Like I said, I really do believe it all boils down to finding that right influencer, that person who has that authentic voice, who can create really good content, who has a good story. And it's all starting now. I'm sure there's going to be a male version of a Michelle Phan in the near future everywhere around the world, and anyone can be that person. And I do believe that men are also very receptive too to what they want to see. If a guy wants to be inspired by fashion, a lot of them now in America, they go on Instagram and they type in men fashion, #men fashion, and that's where they're finding all the inspiration. And so this is where I see a lot of evolution happening within that space.
I think a lot of what you're seeing now is that women are big customers. They're 50% of the population, and they control 80% of household purchasing power. So if you want to solve for those categories, like women are basically, you are the user, so you're in a better position to understand what kind of product to build. So I think that's what's happening with companies today, is a lot of those women are coming out and building products for themselves, and those are actually huge business opportunities. So I think the investment community is finally coming along for that ride.
Well, I'm kind of veteran in this industry, and in late 90s, we had many female websites, and many venture capitalists invested based on the theory that women are always ahead of men in terms of the trends and more influential in terms of the spending, and they control the wallet. But somehow it really didn't catch a trend. I think it kind of went somewhere, but now it seems it's coming back again. So it's very, very interesting. Are we going to see more and more entrepreneurs in Silicon Valley from now on? Because there was a huge dispute about misrepresentation of the gender in the Valley, right?
Absolutely. I mean, we were both at South by Southwest a few weeks ago, and I know I was on a panel talk, and after my panel talk was over, I had 50 girls lined up, and they were all pitching me their apps that they were developing. A lot of them were engineers and coders, and they sold their house and they're living in a garage, and they're building the next big app. And one of them was to measure the bras using an app. And I said, oh my gosh, where has this been all my life? This is amazing. And so I really believe that a lot of women are empowered, and they're going to find niche markets to fill in, and they're going to build technologies and new brands to help fill in that niche market. And so I think there is going to be a lot of upcoming female entrepreneurs coming into the Silicon Valley world.
I agree. I think one of the things that needs to change is the lack of role models. So I think girls, especially young girls, decide or learn very early on what girls are supposed to do or not supposed to do. And that impression of like, oh, women, I don't see that many female leaders out there, so maybe that's not a job for me. I think that impression starts in elementary school, middle school, high school, and carries through. So it's actually really important, I think, to get in front of younger girls to teach them that, no, there's plenty of jobs out there that you can have that aren't just for men or just for women. For me personally, my mom was an entrepreneur. So seeing her working out of our apartment, she was a simultaneous interpreter. So what you're hearing on your headset, that was my mom's job. And she ran a small company out of our apartment. Just seeing her every day, and she would tell me, it's amazing to be your own boss. You can do it. And so I grew up never realizing that it was unusual for a woman to be a CEO or an entrepreneur. So just seeing those examples definitely influenced me. And then in my first job at Google, one of my first boss was Marissa Mayer, who's now the CEO of Yahoo. And she told me very early on to always try to take the more challenging path, push yourself, try to make yourself really uncomfortable, that nauseous feeling you get when you're learning something or you're trying something you don't know how to do and it's really uncomfortable. That's the feeling you should be seeking out, because that's how you know you're growing. And even if you fail, at least you'll have learned something. So always optimize for learning, always push yourself. And so those early role models really shaped like the way I think about things. And I thought back to a lot of that advice in all the important decision points in my career. So I think what's changing now is that there is a Marissa Mayer who's running Yahoo. There's Sheryl Sandberg at Facebook. So girls who are growing up are going to see that and realize, I can try that. And that's why you see the women at South by Southwest pitching.
Absolutely.
There's a women's startup lab, lots more opportunities. So I'm very excited.
I want to piggyback off of what Jess just said. That really resonates with me, and hopefully it can resonate with you. It's failure. Failure is part of success. Oftentimes we fear failure because we often think it's a bad thing, but I always feel like failure is a tool. It's like a compass. It points you in the right direction. If you fail at one thing, well, you now know that you should go in this direction instead of that direction. And so don't be afraid to fail, because failure not only humbles you, but it gives you a better sense of direction on where you should walk.
Maybe it's time to take a couple questions from the floor, if you guys don't mind. Any audience question? Oh, pretty fast. Over there, the gentleman. Can you bring up the microphone? Here you go.
Thank you very much for your awesome discussion. My name is Doga, and I'm now based in Bangkok for over the past 2 months. And obviously, as you know, the Japanese culture of employing women is very difficult. And I've been developing in an office with about 10 of other engineers. They're all men, very heavy environment. Every time I come downstairs to the office, it's so manly, right? And it's so heavy. And I was wondering how you would make a company to make an attractive company for women. How would you make your company very attractive to women? Because I'm pretty, manly also. I'm like, yeah, let's do this, blah, blah, blah. But this doesn't really necessarily attract women. Are there any advice on that?
You want my advice? It's all about decoration. Whatever office you have, you want to make sure that it's decorated in a way where it's aesthetically pleasing for both women and men. And so empowering the women to also decorate the office, giving them a chance to find a couch or put some artwork on the wall, giving them a sense so that they can create a safe space and they can feel inspired and also very safe.
Maybe I should dress up as well.
Yeah, or you could do that.
I would say one thing you really need to keep in mind is that you want your company to feel like a meritocracy. So it has to be about the best ideas win. It can't be that the group that drinks scotch together all the time, wins and decides, makes all the important business decisions. And honestly, I think this is better for both men and women to know that the people who do the best work are going to get rewarded, that the people with the best ideas are going to get rewarded. This not only helps, women who might be less invited to some of the social events, just, companies are social, right? You can't prevent that, but it's better to make sure that the decisions, the important work decisions, are made when everyone's present. And that's also better for introverts who maybe are a little more shy and don't speak up and raise their hand as often. Like just knowing that things will be fair, I think that's the most important thing.
Thanks very much.
Okay, let's take a couple more questions. I saw hands over there in the middle.
I want to ask my question in Japanese. Thank you for this great opportunity. Are you okay? Can you hear the translation? Thank you very much for this very valuable talk. Well, I grew up in a Kochi prefecture of Japan, where women are really strong, and girls used to make me cry. Now, as I grew up, I began to see that it was harder for women to assert themselves in society, maybe because of the lack of role model, like you mentioned during your presentation. Now, today we got to know some important role models, female role models. And going forward, we want to share this information with more people. But we want to make sure that this movement of incorporating more women in society will continue, and it will not be just a one-off thing. So what can we do starting from tomorrow? Do you have any advice?
I think one thing you can do at work is just to remember that there is a little bit of this unconscious bias. So to just actively look out for it, to pay attention and make sure that just know in the back of your head that the system might be structured in a way that might be a little bit unfavorable, just to be conscious of it. That's one thing you could do. Another thing you can do is you can help mentor, an up-and-coming woman who's at your company or that you know. It could even be someone who's like a niece or who's like in school. I think just those are two things that everybody can sort of immediately do.
Piggyback off of that, there's nothing more powerful than positive validation. So if one of your employees did a really good job, say that. Say, great job, you did amazing. Really empower them, make them feel like they're doing something. And if they did do something right, like give them props for that. They should absolutely get that compliment because I myself as a woman, I know that when I do something and I did it well, I would love to hear, great job, you did really well because so oftentimes people put so much work into something and if they don't really hear that feedback, they don't feel as rewarded. And so a simple thing, it doesn't cost you anything. It just takes a few seconds saying, good job, you did great. And also having that open dialogue. If they ever have a problem, they can always be able to open up about it and speak about it. Having that open communication is also very important if you want to build a strong relationship with all of your employees, especially women.
Maybe I would like to take a last question maybe from female women attendants in the front. 女性の方から最後質問を受けて。
Thank you. So Michelle, you said you already had the idea many years ago and you kept it at the back of your mind. And why did you think timing was right to turn it into real business? What was the trigger? That's my question. And I think there are many women out there who cannot take that first step or the last step. So can you give them some encouraging comment?
Absolutely. Timing is key to everything. And, there's no guidebook or rule book showing you when you should do something. I always feel like if you are passionate about something, you'll know when it's time. But there is some advice I can give is to research the market. And that doesn't necessarily mean you have to know everything. You just have to research locally. Maybe in Japan, if this is a great market to do this, going on forums and asking people pitching them an idea and seeing if people can, if they like it, creating polls and getting people to vote and seeing if this works or if it doesn't work, and getting as much feedback and crowdsource information as possible. Honestly, that's my best advice, is just to research. But don't be scared if something's not going to work, if you're too ahead of your time, because that's a good thing if you're too ahead of your time. And if you happen to be too ahead of your time, you learn from that and you can develop something else better. So I always believe, don't be scared to take the first step, because the hardest thing you can do is to take that first step. So once you take that first step, it's so much easier to take the next step and the next step. And it's always that first step that's so hard. So my best advice is to just do it. Just try it, because there's nothing more rewarding than knowing that you did it at least.
I've read research that women tend to pay more attention to the requirements and the prerequisites to do something, whereas for the example was applying for a job. If it says you need to have 5 years of experience, if a woman sees that, she's like, oh, I only have 4, so I won't apply. Whereas a man who has 3 years would be like, I'm going to apply anyway. So I would say don't obsess too much about whether you're ready, just go for it, because these things always take time. There's going to be a lot of failure along the path to success, so go for it. I had an early teacher who taught me that. She made me take this exam in high school where I hadn't even taken the class I was supposed to take before the exam. She said, just do it anyway. And I took it, and I did a great job. And it was such a small instance from that one teacher taught me, you know what, the requirements and the prerequisites, sometimes you can just ignore them, and you might surprise yourself. So I would definitely encourage you or just go for it.
This is a great session, and I'm just going to keep going, but unfortunately we ran out of time. So, ladies and gentlemen, please give the largest round of applause to Misha, Phan, and Jess Lee. Thank you very much.
Arigatou gozaimasu.
Thank you.